Hi, grade 12s. I'm Dr. Tronél Hellberg, and I'm very passionate about theory of music. And in this insanely difficult year, I decided to actually just revise all the theory aspects that you have prescribed for grade 12 CAPS, but also IEB. So I hope you're going to find this helpful. And if you have questions, you're welcome to contact me. My contact details will be available, below the video. And then I'm just going to show you. I'm working from my own book, obviously, but it looks like this. And in this book, I've got exercises and I also have short explanations. So the reason why I wrote the books is to provide you with just enough exercises, not to drown you in exercises, and also just to have short explanations. But even though they're short, they are very useful and they really explain it well. Okay, so let's dive into it. So let's start with the clefs. So in grade 10 and 11, you already covered the soprano clef, the G clef, treble clef, the bass clef or the F clef, as well as the alto clef. So I'm just going to quickly revise the alto clef and the tenor clef for you guys because they're the latest ones and the most confusing because you don't have that much experience in them. So let's have a look at them. I already wrote them on the board. So here's the more sophisticated way of making the alto clef. You don't have to do it like this. The one that I normally use is this one over here that looks like sort of a K. So you've got, it's like a double bar line and then a K. And as you can see, the middle of the clef is on the middle of the staff. Now, the alto clef is also known as the movable C clef. Okay, why? Because we can actually move it around on the staff, and wherever the middle of the clef will be is basically middle C. So that is why it's called the movable C clef. So because the middle of the clef is on the middle line, it means that our middle C is on the middle line. Okay, so that would be middle C. So obviously before that you're going to have B, and before that you will have A, and then after that I'm just writing a couple of them. That is D, and that would be E. Now, when you write a letter name, and you refer to middle C, it's not necessary that you actually write MC. I just did it here so that you can see that it is middle C. Okay, so here's my little cheat for making it easy to remember the letter names. Now, I personally don't like the rhymes because I feel you can easily mix them up if you don't understand how they fit together. Okay, so I like it to have more of a logical approach that even if you strike a memory lapse, that you can still actually work it out. Okay, and that's why I say if you know what the clef stands for and you know that the middle of it is where middle C is, you can work out the letter names around it. Okay, so here's my easy way of working out the letter names. So I think in terms of the treble clef, and just moving the letter names one pitch down. Okay, so in other words, if you think in the treble clef, C would be there, and now in the alto clef, it just drops down to the middle line. Okay, D would be there, now it just drops down to this third space. So just remember, if you do use that method, that you realize that this is middle C, it's not, so in the treble clef, what I'm saying is, okay, so that would be the C I'm referring to when I work out the letter name, but just remember that this is actually an octave higher. Okay, so I purely use this to work out the letter names. Okay, so that is basically how the letter names work of the Alto Cliff. And then if we look at the tenor clef, you can see it's again the movable C clef, but this time the middle of the clef, my middle C, is one line higher. Okay, so if this is my middle C, this is going to be B, this is going to be A. And after that, we're going to have the D and the E. Now, if you use my way of working out the letter names, if you think of the letter names in the treble clef, you just think them one pitch higher in terms of your notation. So the A moves up one pitch. Just to work out the letter names, it's not the actual pitches because middle C is not this note over there in the treble clef. Okay, good. So those are your different clefs. And then I would like to quickly just have a look at our accidentals. So accidentals, I'm just going to quickly clear some space. I think if I just clear this, it should be fine. Okay, so let's have a look at our accidentals. So we have key signatures and we have accidentals. Key signatures we find at the beginning just after the clef. Okay, and you know that, say for example, we have this key signature. It's going to mean that every single F is going to be sharpened no matter where it is on the staff. Okay, so you're going to sharpen all the Fs. But when it gets to accidentals, it only applies to that specific note and the notes that follow on that specific pitch. So let's take, for example, we have a C sharp. Okay, so just for the sake of argument, we now in G major, and we have a C sharp here. So this C sharp, and I think this you should already know, applies to all the Cs on that pitch in the treble clef in that particular bar. So after the bar line, it is cancelled. So over here, this if they ask you what is the letter name of this note, because of the C sharp there, you're going to write this is C sharp. Okay, I trust that you already know this. So now our bar line cancels the sharp unless there's actually a tie. So just be careful if they do ask you what is the letter name of this note, you're also going to say it's C sharp. If there isn't a tie, it would just be C. Okay, so then also say we had another C over here, and they've asked you what is the letter name of that note, it would only be C. Okay, so that's the difference between accidentals and your key signature. So this, I had a middle C here, that would just be normal C unless you actually sharpen it. Okay, so that's just something about your accidentals. And I just want to see if I mentioned all the things I wanted to say. Yes. Okay, so just before I just revise the double sharp and the double flat, please remember, guys, in the exam, the moment you read the question like, what is the letter name, you immediately think it's easy. And I can promise you there has to be a catch in grade 12. Okay, so just be very careful. So first check your key signature, check if you didn't have any accidentals, the double sharp and the double flat. Now, if we look at a note like, and I'm still in the treble clef here, we have, say, for example, D. So if we go a semitone higher, we're going to have D sharp. So that's a semitone. And if we go another semitone higher, we're going to have a D double sharp. Okay, so if we look at our piano, we have D, D sharp, D double sharp. Okay, so D double sharp is the enharmonic change for E. And likely they're going to ask you in the exam, give the enharmonic change for. Okay, so that is what's meant by enharmonic change. And then, of course, if we go a semitone lower from D, we're going to have D flat. And if we go another semitone lower from the flat, we're going to have D double flat. So on your piano, you've got D, D flat, D double flat. Okay, so enharmonic change for D double flat is going to be C. Okay, and unless they ask for enharmonic change, you give them the letter name that they actually require over here. Then just maybe one last thing that I want to mention to you, and that is if you had, let's do this. Okay, so let's go back to our D example. Say, for example, we want to restore, let's make it D double sharp. Let's be in the same bar, and now we want to restore it just to a normal D. Okay, so all you're going to do is you are going to put a natural sign in front of the D. So please, it's a very old way of indicating it like this, where you would have the double sharp and then you have the natural. Okay? We don't do that. So please just remember, you take away the double sharp and you just write the natural sign there. Okay, so it replaces the whole accidental, whether it was a sharp, a flat, a double sharp, or a double flat. Okay, so that is basically your different clefs and your pitches.